I just bought a recovered theft 2023 Acura TLX Type S from Copart for 25 grand. And I'm not going to sugarcoat this one. I took a pretty big gamble on it. First of all, it doesn't have a key, so we don't even know if the car runs. And second of all, I don't know the mileage. So it could have a bunch of expensive maintenance that's due that's not shown on a Carfax, so who knows. But there's a couple things that really excite me about this car. First of all, it is the Type S. And second of all, it's cool as f***. The question is, how bad did the thieves mess up the car? And am I going to be able to get it back together without emptying the wallet? Stay tuned to find out. We just got in our 2023 Acura TLX from New York. A beautiful car. I sure hope it's worth the $27,000 that I got into it. Let's go take a look. It was a recovered theft unit, does not have a set of keys, I don't believe, so let's see what we got there. But yeah, the front bumper's nicked up a little bit over here. Looks like it's repairable, some body work there. We're missing some kind of badge that goes there, which is really common when they steal cars. They love to debadge them. Mirror's missing. You know that's not gonna be cheap. And they've curbed it pretty bad here. That's gonna have to go to the wheel doctor and get repowder coated. Got the quad exhaust, that looks really cool. Yeah, look at that, nice. Gosh, the inside is nice. Look at that thing. Whew, that leather's in great shape. They've got the dash tore apart. That's a little alarming. The start button is missing. The entire panel that contains the start button's missing. Where would keys be? No keys in the glove box. Don't know. Looks like we're gonna have to get some keys ordered for this thing and do some programming. So the key came in for our Acura TLX Type S. So the moment of truth has come where we get to try to start this thing and see what we got. This is always a little stressful, you know, because when you pay $28,000 for something, at any rate, here goes. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. And look at that. Only 9,900 miles. So whoever had it didn't joyride it for long. The next thing we got to do is we got to get this key blade keyed to the door cylinder. So we'll get that key cylinder, get it keyed up for this key, then we can run it through the front line list. I know it needs some brakes, but we'll see what else is going on. All right, now that we've got the car running, we've got a tire that keeps losing air. So we're gonna get this up to the wheel doctor because it's got a bent rim that's so bad that it keeps losing air. And I don't wanna be driving the car around on a flat tire and damaging the tire when we've actually got good tires on it. Both of the rear wheels are damaged too. The person that drove this car didn't know how to park real well because they've curbed both the rear wheels all around the edge and even up a couple of the spokes. So 3 of the 4 wheels need to be reconditioned at the wheel doctor. So we've got George here with the rollback. We're gonna get it up to Blue Ash, get the wheels taken care of. We got the Acura back from the wheel doctor. The wheels are looking great. They got all the curbing off. They got the bent rim fixed. That was great. Now we're pulling it in the shop to do the frontline checklist, check the brakes, all the fluids, see what else we got to do before we get it over to the body shop to get the bumper fixed. So what all did you end up doing?
Not too much. We got brakes all the way around.
Front pads and rotors, rear pads?
Just the pads, yeah.
Yep, rear pads.
And we got this mirror broken over there to replace, and oil change and filters, cabin filters, and that's pretty much it.
Oh, that's great. Everything else looked good, huh?
Yes, sir. And I'm going to show you there's a tire on the other side that's bad.
The tire that's bad? This thing's only got 9,000 miles on it. How could it have a bad tire?
It's like a nice bubble right here.
Oh, yeah, jeez. I'm glad you found that. That's pretty bad. They busted some belts there. All right, well, we're definitely going to need a left rear tire. And, of course, it's a Pirelli P0, so it'll be $250 tire. All right. Okay, well, looking good. It's coming along. I look forward to driving this one. Billy's got it all wrapped up, finished with the front line inspection on it. We got the mirror on. Fortunately, we were able to get a mirror that was even in the right color. So we don't have to get it over to the body shop and paint it, right part number, right color. So that was lucky. It was expensive. That mirror was like $600 on eBay, but whatever, we got the right mirror. We do have a error message popping up in the cluster talking about the active dampener system. So we need to get that scanned, figure out what the code's for, if we've got an open circuit or what's going on with that. We'll get it hooked up to the Autel and take it from there. I got to drive the 355 horsepower SRT killer last night. It was fun, I enjoyed it, I loved it. I did find a couple more things that we need to update on the list. Joe, the nav system, the map comes up, but it doesn't show your car. So we got to figure out why we're not getting any map location on it. And then I wasn't getting any AM or FM antenna reception at all. Obviously that's pretty common for a recovered theft. Typically on a recovered theft car, they want to cancel or cut off any communication with the outside world. So it's very common for them to disconnect all the antennas. So let's get in the back of the car, check the antennas. Hopefully it's just the standard, they unplug the antennas. Sometimes they cut the wires, sometimes they...
Well, it's pulled down, so
Unplug 'em.
someone was in here.
The hassle
Antenna
is
wires.
frequently we have to drop the headliner to fix them. Okay, so what do you think? We need to drop the headliner?
Yeah, get these plugged in properly.
Ah, jeez.
Make sure they're not tore up there. Well, I feel one broken, so I'm gonna have to fix it. Yeah, it's gonna have to come down.
Another task to put on the list. Hopefully it's not a big deal. We need to drop the headliner just enough that we can get up in there and do some wire repairs. All right, so Joe's been working his magic here for the last couple hours, doing his little detail work, trying to do this soldering and whatnot. Show us what you got.
I had to add extensions to these antenna wires, and then I had to figure out what they needed to get soldered to on the inside of the car, so they're in the right spots.
Yeah, so you've got two wires there, two wires there.
And I found that, and for this one, so I repaired it here.
Right, because this connector's up above the headliner.
Right.
Okay. So let's see him work his magic, contort yourself, get it back up in there, and then we'll see if we have navigation and radio signals. Oh boy, I see you're out of the car. I see there's an antenna on the roof. What'd you find?
Yeah, I finished all the antenna wiring. I went into the radio system and checked all the antennas, and they're all hooked up and working according to the diagnostic.
So do we have music?
We have music.
All right, all right.
So should drive it for the GPS.
Hold on, give me those keys. No problem. I'll take this. I'm sorry, you were saying something?
It does have a suspension fault for the rear right acceleration sensor.
Okay, so could be wiring, could be a sensor, who knows, you need to diag that. So we got her over here in the body shop. It's time to start figuring out these bumpers. We got to do the front and rear bumpers. It has a protective wrap covering the entire front clip of the car. Usually the wraps stop about, a foot or so up the hood, and you'll see a clear line kind of where it's faded and not faded, and where the chip protector's just on the front end, which means it's on the front bumper. So Nate, let's go over the bumper.
I'm gonna see what it looks like after we get this off that plastic wrap.
After you get the clear protection off of it.
Yep.
Then evaluate what the bumper looks like as far as sanding it down and fixing all these cracks.
It looks bad, but a lot of times it ain't. But
yeah, because that's all just the wrap. Isn't that interesting?
so,
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at it thinking it's terrible, but it's really,
it's not that bad.
this is all just in the wrap.
Yeah.
Wow. It's literally, gosh, you could probably just buff it. Okay, but we do need to get this lower valance.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird how it's all ground off? It's like they were jumping the car or something and skidding the front of it. You might have to do paint work on the front bumper, you might not. For sure we have to paint the rear bumper though.
Yeah.
A couple right here that are through the color, a deep one here that's actually down into the plastic, and then a couple over here that are just scratched up. So for sure we gotta strip down the rear bumper. You gonna take it off the car to do that, or
No, we'll leave it on.
just do it on? I like what you're doing. It's a $40,000 car. We gotta do it, we gotta do it right. So we've got the car over here in our Florence showroom because we need to do some PDR work on it, some paintless dent removal. We have 4 dents going up this sail panel. Jacob here is from our PDR company, and he is gonna show us how to do paintless dent removal. So what's the trick?
Pulling using specialized glue to pull the panel gently without pulling any paint or clear coat. So you keep your factory paint one. It takes far less time than body shop. We'll be on it maybe an hour tops. And then of course cost is also a lot more economical as well.
All right, sounds good. Let's get her done. Look forward to seeing what it looks like. I am super impressed with how this car came out. I really am surprised, but I mean, it is just perfect. For less than $200, all the dents are gone and she's looking good. All right, so things are coming along pretty good in the body shop. They have got it all ready to be painted. We've got it taped off and masked. But I wanted to show you on the front bumper what we had to do. What we found is that almost all of the damage here on the front bumper was actually in the clear vinyl protector. So you'll see very little primer here. There was just a couple scratches that had gotten through the vinyl protector and actually into the paint. But the rear bumper did not have that clear vinyl protection on it. So the scratches that we saw in that were actually in the paint. We had a pretty decent size cut right there in the bumper. We had a gouge that went down through the paint. It was right in here. that was all the way down into the plastic. And then there was quite a few scratches over on this side. So the rear bumper, we ended up pretty much having to primer the whole thing. So we have to repaint the entire rear bumper, repaint the entire front bumper.
How long have you been doing this?
Long enough to know that half of this is gonna just be taken back off of my Acura and put on your Acura. All of a sudden, one of these days, I'm gonna be like, damn, Nate's Acura sure looks like a Type S.
If it was the same year, you might be in trouble.
So before we got the car painted, Acura actually showed up with all the parts that we needed for the front bumper. So I just wanted to show you those real quick. When they damaged the front bumper, it actually knocked off quite a few pieces that we needed. The main one is this big lower spoiler that goes all the way across the front of the car. It's already pre-painted, so that's nice. We don't need to deal with that. Nice gloss shiny piece. This goes all the way across the whole front of the front bumper. Then there are splitters that go on each side that kind of are in addition to the spoiler. They go underneath it. So we got a left and right splitter, and then this center support piece that actually kind of acts as a lower splash shield and goes up to the core support on the bottom of it. So once they get the paint on there, we're gonna go ahead and have the body shop put all these parts on the front bumper as well before we get it over to work on the antenna. We got the bumpers painted. The scratches came out really well. Everything looks good. Both corners are nice, they're smooth. The rear bumper came out nice too. That little dent's gone, the gouges are gone, all the scratches are gone. So I'm really happy with the paint job. Now we're gonna get the splitters on it and then we can get it back to mechanical. So the last item that's just been plaguing us on this Acura has been this error message that we're getting for an acceleration sensor in the right rear suspension. And we've just had some diag and some more diag into it. And Joe finally figured it out. Over the weekend, he just got some time where he was able to focus just on the car. What did you find, Joe?
I found when I got in the trunk and found the acceleration sensor, it was unplugged.
You gotta be kidding me.
So I plugged it in and everything's fine. And it's sitting right here. It was there, it wasn't snapped in.
I wonder if it was like that from the factory and just
it
getting
could
moved
have
around with
been.
the forklift or something, finally just got the wire to just
Yeah,
drop out that
wiggle
glass.
down.
And now look what we've got. The trunk board is gone, the spare tire is gone, and the panel that goes across the back of the trunk opening is gone. They're not inside the car, so we're gonna have to order all those parts, get the trunk put together, then we can send it to detail. All right, so I'm starting to get excited, you know me. I love getting rid of cars, sending them off to detail. So let's get the panel in and get this on. So it's got a big hump right here, so we're gonna fold the seats down and see if we can get it to tuck in there better. It's got a fold on it, so. There you go. Now it's fitting in there much better. Okay, so now we know this piece is in the right spot. We now have it sitting in there properly. We have the seats installed properly and working. All right, now, barring any setbacks, we can get it off to detail. She's back from detail and looking sexy. I've got to say, of the over 6,000 cars we've sold here, this has got to be in the top 10. What a beautiful car. Love the color combination with the deep blue and the glossy black accents. Nice car, and they don't call this thing an SRT killer for nothing. Absolute machine, powerful car, fun to drive. It's not gonna last over at the sales lot for long. Just love the car, all in all, great machine. I've got the final piece here. We just got it from our friends at Columbia Acura for $15. Got to put this trim piece on, the stripe plate back here. Now she's ready to go. The only thing left is go upstairs, look at the numbers. Okay, so I snuck upstairs to go over the numbers on this S-Type. What a cool car, what a blast to drive, but not such a good car from the numbers perspective. So let's take a look. By the time I got that car here, paid all the auction fees, we had $26,520 to Copart, $750 to the transporter, and another $145 I paid in storage fees because we kind of had a hard time getting it out of there. Once it got here, we had to have a key made for it, which we got from Columbia Acura for $271. That passenger's mirror assembly was broken off the car. We got one of those on eBay for $450. Then AutoZone got us an oil change for $60. That fuse box cover was missing in the engine compartment. That was $30. We got the emblems for the fenders. Those were $92 for the pair. That board that was missing in the trunk was $52. We got that from the dealer. The spare tire kit was missing. We got that off of eBay for $73. The spare tire we sourced locally for $128. That piece of trim that goes up across the back of the trunk was another $20. The front brake pads and rotors we had to get from the dealer because that S-Type was just special rotors and we couldn't find them aftermarket. So those were $266. The rear ones we did get aftermarket for $145. We put a new battery in it for $85. and then we sent it to the wheel doctor. And that ended up being a lot more than I was anticipating. I thought I had one bent rim and some cosmetic repair. We ended up having 2 bent rims and having to do cosmetic repair on all 4 wheels. So we ended up having $1,450 just into repairing the wheels. And we towed it back and forth twice, which had another $200 in towing. So that was expensive. We ended up replacing 2 tires. I did one that I got off of eBay for $139 and then $30 to mount it. And then we got the other one off of eBay for $162, another $30 to mount that. At which point we took it over to the body shop. The guys put that splitter on the front of it with those 2 panels. The splitter came from the dealer for $408. The 2 panels, splash panels up underneath that supported the bottom of that splitter were $189. And then we had $400 in labor to the 2 guys over there in the body shop. All said and done, the labor wasn't that bad. Our labor over here on the mechanical side was only $350 total. $250 to detail it, and we were finished. We ended up having $33,630 into this car. I think by the end of the day, we'll end up selling it for around $37,000, which gives us a contribution margin of $3,340, which is okay, but on that high end, that expensive of a car, we really need to have a better contribution margin. But regardless, it was a fun car to drive. Thanks for watching to the end. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm Matt Ryan, and this is Northern Kentucky Auto.